Hey people, I probably made a video quite similar to this not so long ago. In fact, I made a lot of videos about the subject, but it is a subject I feel very, very strongly on. So the way I see it, there's never really enough video space to express everything I want to say. Um, but in this particular video, I want to address a claim that the Tory party and Tory thinking people often claim. Um, and that is this rhetoric about a something for nothing culture. Now, I'll play the devil's advocate for a second and try and promote what their argument basically is. What they say is that unemployed people are not contributing to society and are receiving money from the taxpayer, and they don't deserve that, and that's not fair. That's about the height of their argument. Let me just break this down. Firstly, this casual slur of all unemployed people, this casual generalisation, which Tories are very good at doing, because they're very lazy when it comes to differentiating between unemployed people. Tories are extremely lazy. They just don't differentiate. To the Tory mindset, we're all equally worthless. They will dispute that, but their public statements pretty much do allude to that sort of mindset. And they've never made any attempt publicly to differentiate. Never. In the 2.5 years since David Cameron and co have been in power, they've never once said, we're focusing on those who abuse the system, but we recognise that it isn't all unemployed people. They have never made a statement like that. Therefore, we can conclude that they do regard all unemployed people as the same, on the grounds they've never made this statement. So I'd like to just break down the something for nothing claim. Now, it is true that people who are unemployed can apply for job seekers allowance, which is a certain amount of money that's used to support yourself while you're looking for work. The exact amount varies on your personal situation. In my case, I was on JSA for a short time, 2009. I believe it was £67 a fortnight. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember exactly the figure. Now, personally, I had no complaints at all about that amount. It was ample for me. I had no complaints about the amount. So this video is by no means complaining about the actual amount of JSA. However, I would like to point out it is absolutely not the millions that the gutter press like to claim. I would also like to point out a few more things about, sorry, there's just a bit of background noise there. I'd also like to point out a few more things about job seekers allowance. Now, this something for nothing claim basically indicates that unemployed people are getting money and they don't have to do anything, they're just sitting back and enjoying it. This could not be further from the truth. Under JSA, there are very rigid obligations. You have to go to the job centre every week and sign on. You have to be there on the dot. If you're 30 seconds late, you'll be told to come back. So they're very rigid about that. You have to prove that you're actively seeking work. They give you this little booklet where you have to show the companies you phoned, the CVs you've sent out, and so on. That's pretty rigid. But leaving all that aside, you have to, now by the way, and you have to go through lots of interviews as well to sort of tell them what your progress is. Leaving that aside is the issue of workfare, something I believe is an immoral abomination in this country. Now, workfare basically is sending unemployed people onto a program, usually a company. Now, sorry, you go through a program first. In my case, it was a company called Sensia. I think their official title is Back to Work Providers. In my opinion, they're criminal organisations, but anyway. You have companies like A4E, Sensia, and others, and they are basically in the business of exploiting people. Their job, in theory, is to help people get back to work, but in reality, it's to they sort of act as punishment agents. I'm not talking about everyone who works for them. I met a few decent people in there, but I met a lot of jobs worths who basically enjoyed having power over others and talking down to people and so on. And I do believe the government promotes and encourages the program to be as soul destroying and humiliating as possible. They'll never admit that, but I do believe they, behind closed doors, I wouldn't be surprised if they're encouraging it. Anyway, in this sort of back to work provider, you're there from, I believe it was 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, sometimes 4 o'clock, and all day you are doing things connected with work, whether that be filling in CVs, applications, sort of having seminars about how to fill in CVs properly and so on, and just a whole range of things. You can't leave, there's no choice in it, you have to go. And then at some point they make you sort of choose a company, or they give you this setup where you have to choose a sort of category, then they'll assign you to a certain company and you've minimal choice in it. Like I say, you can sort of choose a category, but that's about it. They'll send you there and you have to treat it like a job, a full job, and they tell you to treat it like a full job. So you go at whatever time the company would start, let's say 8:30, and you'll stay there until 4 o'clock, so it's a full working day basically, maybe slightly less than the others, but the point is they are full working hours and you're expected to do, I'll just speak up a little bit because someone's using the Hoover outside. You're expected to do the full work, 9 to 5, do that job. You're given a little bit of training, but you're basically expected to do everything that your colleagues are doing. And if you make any mistakes or whatever, even though the training is very minimal, then of course that'll go against you. You're not paid for this. There's no choice and you're not paid for it. They do give you job seekers allowance, that continues, but they take money out of it for the transport. So you're actually getting slightly less than what you were getting. And you're getting no income. And the JSA works out at approximately, I think I worked this out, it was something like 4 times less than the minimum wage, legal minimum wage. And unemployed people are forced in this program. Young woman from Birmingham, Kate Riley, made headlines when she challenged this legally. The Czech Republic has just banned it because they regard it as forced labour, which it is. And I find that quite ironic that a former communist country can recognise it's wrong, but we still do it in Britain. Anyway, this really is the real something for nothing culture. I don't know whether the public aren't aware of this or the public are just callous Tory voters. I don't know. I think it's a bit of both. But the reality is something for nothing culture is massively exaggerated. Now I know there are people who abuse the system. Sorry. Hello? Chris, I'm right in the middle of a video. Just give me 1 minute, please. I'm sorry everyone, I had to answer that. I'll just round this up. I've pretty much said what I've wanted to say. I hope you can hear everything despite the interruptions. I believe Workfare is a real something for nothing culture. It sickens me and it should be banned. And that's all I really have to say on the matter. I'm sure I can add things to that, but I always can. This was promoted by a heated argument I had with a Tory bigot the other day. If you think unemployed people are getting things for nothing, then you don't know the reality, and you've never been through Workfare. And I'll get to my friend now, but I might add to this. That's all I really have to say on the matter. Okay, cheers.